Step by Step is a family sitcom from 1991 to 1998, lasting 7 seasons and 160 episodes. Each time I do one of these top 10 episode videos, I get to revisit a TV show I've loved for a long time. I have to say I have a blast doing so, and Step by Step was no exception. It was a lot of fun going through all these episodes. Now in this video I'm going to be picking my top 10 favorite episodes from this totally 90s classic TV series. So let's get this thing started. Funny Business is a 7th and final season episode. The main storyline going on in this episode has to do with JT, who at this point has gone from job to job, failing at everything he attempts. But he's feeling confident that this time it will be different, because this time he's not thinking about himself. Yep, that's right, JT Lambert has got a job to serve the people, to help others, as a talent agent. Yeah, that's right, I said talent agent.
Who in their right mind would let you handle their career?
So far, just you, but...
JT does have a job for Al in a sun tanning commercial. But the only problem is, it lands on the same day as her play audition for Romeo and Juliet. But it's not hard for JT to change his sister's mind. Everything seems to be going great. But remember, this is JT. It's not possible for this not to blow up in his face.
Hey guys, are you lonely tonight? Well, don't be, because we're oiling up just for you.
With a signed contract JT never bothered to read, there's nothing they can do to get the commercial taken off the air. Well, unless Frank hangs him upside down outside a window.
And what you did with my daughter, well, that was a no-no. You see?
The later seasons of the series don't have the same charm the first 4 to 5 seasons have, but I still can find enjoyment and laughs in some of the episodes. And Funny Business is one I actually really like, mainly because it makes me laugh so hard. And although there are some funny moments in the main plot, it's the other thing happening in the episode that puts me on the ground rolling in laughter. As Dana and Carol have everyone in the house on a diet eating stuff like green algae muffins. Yeah, that's right. I said green algae muffins. And this is making everyone crazy. And it is hilarious to watch.
Soft, greasy, fried dough!
Sometimes laughter's the best medicine. And cracking up over silly things is right up my alley.
Man, there's not even any chocolate syrup. What kind of hellish nightmare is this?
In this first season episode, Frank signs up his family for a special on Blended Families on America Up Close. This means they get to come in their home, follow them around with cameras, and film a documentary. And everyone seems to be excited about it. Well, except for one person.
I do not want TV cameras all over our house. I do not want our privacy invaded.
I don't blame her for feeling this way. They've only been married 2 months and are still getting to know each other. And their kids fight like cats and dogs, and he wants all of this to be documented?
Crazy.
It seems things cannot get worse for Carol, until she finds out there's no way out of it, as Frank has already signed a contract. Carol tries her hardest to make them look like the perfect blended family, but it's not easy. Well, it doesn't start off too bad, just a few fights over a phone and a scarf. No real bloodshed, just a squealing pig and Cody rocking out a song for Dana in the kitchen. Okay, it's pretty bad, but Carol's got this.
Time out! Cool it! Turn off the camera! Everybody sit down!
The kids get together and realize that if they want the parents off their back, they need to start acting like the perfect blended family. But Frank and Carol are not buying their phony nice bit. This is the part of the show where it gets all emotional feeling, filled with a heart-to-heart with a classic sitcom emotional music playing in the background. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Find it in your heart to forgive me. I love you, Carol.
The episode ends with a Monopoly war. I'm sure you've had one of these with your family. People take this game pretty seriously. A Day in the Life is a classic first season episode. At this point in the series, they have their moments of pulling together, but they're not a tight-knit family yet, and to document that is craziness. I've seen this kind of thing on other sitcoms before, and it's usually pretty funny, and this one is of course no exception.
Always wanted to know, how come there's no Channel 1?
This step-by-step top 10 episode video will continue after this short break.
The Power Rangers just won't quit. It's the best episodes of the Power Rangers ever.
And now back to the video. Snow Bunnies is a 5th season episode that has Elle jealous over her boyfriend going up into the snowy mountains with another girl. She ends up dragging JT up to spy on her boyfriend, and there are some laughs here. But it's the other storyline I want to focus on as I talk about this episode, and I'm not talking about Cody having the hiccups.
Maybe it would help if I scared you.
Oh, dude, that's a killer idea. Yeah! Yeah!
You see, Carol and Frank both like to read before bed. Carol likes to read scary books, and Frank likes to read, well, Garfield books. Frank warns her that she'll end up having nightmares if she keeps reading stuff like that before bed. And that is exactly what happens. But this doesn't stop Carol. Oh no, she has become completely obsessed.
Chapter 9. The River of Blood.
This is when it gets really good, as we get to see into Carol's nightmare. It feels like the episode all of a sudden has turned into some type of Halloween episode. This had to be fun for the cast and crew. There's no way they got through this without some laughs.
You've got to help me. There's something wrong with Mark.
Ready for barbecue!
What really makes me love this episode so much is the scenes having to do with Frank and Carol reading their different types of books in bed. I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with Garfield. This episode has two different things going on. One being that Frank is going camping with a hairdresser who just happens to work with Carol. This of course doesn't come without some laughs, as they have nothing in common, and definitely have a different idea of what camping is.
We are camping out. Camping out means getting back to nature, and that means not bringing every modern convenience with you.
What happens next is the last thing they would ever expect to happen to them in the middle of nowhere.
I'm having a baby.
Oh, congratulations.
It's a good thing they told her husband earlier that they are doctors. Well, actually, I don't know how faking to be doctors really helps them in this situation. Real doctors or not, they will have to deliver this baby. Of course, with some chuckles along the way.
Well, I suppose next our head is going to spin around.
Now for the other thing happening in this episode, which has to do with Dana and Rich, who have been dating for a while up to this point. Now Dana starts to spend a lot of time with her old friend Jeff, who just happens to have a lot more in common with Dana than Rich does. This of course makes Rich extremely jealous.
Rich! Well, at least you still remember my name.
Jeff asks Dana to go back to Harvard to check out the law school, and Rich forbids it, which just makes Dana laugh in Rich's face.
You're so cute.
Dana starts to question which guy is right for her, and decides to go with Jeff to check out the college. Rich shows up knowing that if he doesn't fight for Dana and show her how he feels on the inside, he will lose her forever.
Dana, I think about you constantly. And when I'm not with you, it just doesn't feel right.
Luckily for Rich, Dana feels the same way, and they both tell each other that they love one another for the first time. The L Word is a 6th season episode, and like I said before, the later seasons don't quite have the charm that earlier seasons have, but I do like the Rich character a lot. His and Dana's relationship is one of my favorite things during these seasons, and it made him a main character on the show, and I think it's great, and who can hear that voice and not think of Max?
I don't get it. What does this guy have that I don't have? Ask you to go with me, that is, to the party.
In this first season episode, the Lambert side of the family prepares for the Port Washington 16th Annual Family Games, which they have been the winners of for the past 3 years. Carol sees this as an opportunity for the newly blended family to do something together. There's only one problem. The Lamberts don't want the unathletic Foster to join their team and cost them the trophy against the very competitive Larson family. And for the Lamberts, well, you can say they're not enthused either.
Do we have to do this? I've got a paper cut.
Well, whether they like it or not, the Fosters and the Lamberts are stuck with each other. So let the games begin. So it doesn't start off too well for the Lambert and Foster family, but when Karen wins the pie eating competition, it puts the family into the final round with the Larsons. And for the last competition, it's tug-of-war, and it seems like the Larson family has the advantage, and just when you think it's over, this happens. Pulling together is an example of what a perfect step-by-step first season episode looks like. It's 100% pure classic step-by-step. This sees the new blended family pulling together against the odds and overcoming. It's what a sitcom like this is truly about, and that is family sticking together no matter what the odds or what life throws at them.
If we all work together, we can kick butt and win that stupid trophy!
Frank is taking Carol out on a special vacation, just the two of them out to the Mountain Peak Lodge. And this is not just some regular lodge. Oh no, this lodge has a sentimental feeling attached to it. There's only one problem. Carol and Frank have never been to Mountain Peak Lodge, only Mountain View Lodge. Oh no, Frank, what have you done this time?
Front desk put you in the same cabin as last time, cabin number 7, or as we now call it in your honor, the Love Shack.
Taking your wife to your old love shack is a pretty awful thing to do. Luckily for Frank, he has a loving, forgiving wife.
Oh, Frank. I love you.
I'm not sure he deserved that, Carol. You probably should have made him sleep outside. Anyways, now for the other thing happening in this episode. So of course with Carol and Frank gone, the kids are left alone with Cody. And JT, Brendan, and Al all decide to enjoy some scary movies. But Mark decides to point out how the movies are not really scary at all because of the obvious cheesy effects. This of course ruins the movie experience for the Lambert kids, so they decide to teach him a lesson by scaring the crap out of him.
JT, wake up!
Mark figures out that they were just scaring him because he ruined their film, and decides he's going to give them a stern talking to. But right when he's about to, Cody suggests that they get even instead, so Cody and the Fosters team up to give them a taste of their own medicine, and it is awesome. Nightmare Weekend is a favorite of mine, mostly because of the scaring that's going on between the Fosters and the Lamberts. Once again, the show gets to play around with going into spooky mode, and I can't help but to feel that they had a blast doing so. And they do a really good job at it too.
I love being the smartest person in this house.
It's JT's World.
JT's World Party Time, excellent!
That's right, JT has his own public access show, and he has his best bud cousin Cody to be his sidekick. Of course, JT's World is basically a Wayne's World ripoff.
No way.
Although I feel Cody is doing more of a Bill and Ted impression than a Wayne and Garth one, maybe he has his movies mixed up.
Party time, excellent!
Anyways, the first episode of JT's World has finally come, and they have a bodacious babe as a guest, Lisa, who happens to be played by Elizabeth Berkley, who I believe was in a popular TV show at the time.
Why don't you pack yourself in ice?
That's cool.
The first episode of JT's World was totally awesome, and JT totally has the hots for Lisa. There's only one problem. She has the hots for Cody. JT doesn't take this too well and fires his best friend, which puts Cody in the backyard singing the blues. Yeah, way to dump on your best friend. But JT does not stop there, and threatens to basically fire everyone.
You know, JT, you're being a real creep.
Hey, Cannon, or I'll fire you too.
It takes talking to his father and watching his show fall apart to realize what a jerk he has been. And then he finally tries to make it right with Cody.
Lisa liked you better than me, and I couldn't handle it. So I dumped you.
JT does what's right, and JT's World turns into JT and Cody's World. A 90s sitcom referencing Wayne's World with Elizabeth Berkley from Saved by the Bell guest starring. Yeah, it doesn't get much more 90s than that, and I love it. I mean, come on, if you love the 90s like I do, you'll love this episode. And I'm also a very big fan of Wayne's World. It will always be my favorite Mike Myers movie of all time.
But both you and I know that there is no film in this camera.
And now it's time for... Did You Know? Did you know that Chris St. Bernard, who starred as Beethoven in the movies Beethoven and Beethoven's Second, guest starred in a step-by-step episode titled It's a Dog's Life? And did you know that the child actor who played Mark on Step by Step also starred in both of the first and second Beethoven movies as the character Ted? That's right. Plus, these two had the same first name. I guess you can say these two had a few things in common. In this second season episode, we see Frank hurt his back after trying to lift a table saw. Al's spending a lot of time with a friend and her dad, which makes Frank a jealous father.
Ted took his team to the championship, too.
Really? What city?
Well, I don't know.
Cody wearing an all Velcro outfit. Yeah, that's right. I said a full body Velcro outfit.
You put on this Velcro suit, you jump off a trampoline into this wall, and you just stick there.
And JT getting hair advice from Karen to try to win a girl way out of his league. Now when JT walks into the Family Fun Center with his new hairdo, you will be rolling with laughter.
Hi, Judy.
JT?
Poor JT. Well, if you thought that was bad, just look at what she does to his hair next. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, anyways, the true heart of this episode is in the jealous father that feels like he's losing his daughter. Like, she doesn't need him anymore.
No one could replace you. I love you, Dad.
It's funny because it's a show I watched first as a child, and when you're a kid, you relate to the kid characters the most. And now when I watch it, I relate and like the adult characters the most. In this episode, any parent, father, or mother can relate to, making it a very universal type episode. Stuck on You is also, in my opinion, the funniest step-by-step episode in the entire series, simply because I laugh through the entire thing every single time. And isn't that how anybody should judge what's funniest to them? By how much they laugh? Well, at least that's what I do. And not only do I feel like this is the funniest laugh out loud episode, but it also has what I like to call the funniest moment in the entire series. Yep, that's right. This sends me right to the ground, rolling in laughter, holding my stomach because it hurts so bad, because it's so darn funny.
Frank, are you all right? Help me!
Something Wild is a 4th season episode filled with Halloween fun, as we see Cody get into the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest jack-o'-lantern in the world. And he's come up with the most awesome way to carve out the face. Seeing Cody's pumpkin in the yard has given Carol an idea to throw a big Halloween party. And Mark wants to have a date for the party, but not just any date. He wants to go with a girl with a bad reputation, J.J. Jenkins.
Hey, who knows? Might be kind of a challenge to get a guy like you to loosen up.
Mark is not the only foster child with a date for the party, as JT's got the perfect date for Dana and Karen. Not. Wait, haven't I seen these guys before?
I'll take the mermaid. I want her to slap me around with her big tail.
Back to Mark, who's really the main focus in this episode. He shows up dressed as a punk rocker to the party, or as Al says, like a roadie for Aerosmith. JJ talks Mark into leaving his own party to ache someone's house. Now, this is something that Mark would never do. He knows deep inside that this is wrong. But with his hormones going out of control, Mark is no longer thinking with his head upstairs. Of course he gets caught by the police, and this is when everyone gets the shock of their life of what a rebel Mark has become. I guess it's time for that mother-son talk. Well, actually, this one's gonna require a father-son talk.
Mr. Hormone says,
Do it, Mark, do it, do it. She's a hot babe, she'll kiss you till your brain explodes.
One of my favorite things about these old Halloween episodes is seeing all the old 90s style decorations. To me, they are the best. I also like seeing all the 90s costumes, and of course, Carol making Frank wear a Tarzan outfit is pretty funny. Another thing I like about this episode is Gary and Larry. I feel like the actors who play the characters, who are basically Beavis and Butthead, do a really good job.
she said boobs.
With Frank and Carol always being busy, they just don't get to spend too much time together anymore, besides the occasional rumble in the bedroom. They decide that they should start to share interests and spend more time together. So Frank takes her bowling, which we only hear about, and Carol takes Frank to an art class, which Frank is dragging his feet about, feeling like it will be boring. That is until he realizes that they will be drawing a nude model.
This art stuff is kind of exciting.
The excitement shifts to Carol when they find out the nude model will be a Mel.
Honey, that's no nude model, that's a guy.
Meanwhile, JT's World is back, and they have grown some popularity since the last time we seen JT's World, so much so that a big-time producer wants to come out and check out the show. He ends up liking what he sees and wants to take JT's World to the big time. JT instantly starts acting like a big-shot jerk, and it doesn't take much for him to dump on his crew, who just happens to be his family.
Lose the munchkins.
You heard the man. Get out of here.
The producer ends up taking JT's World away from JT and Cody and brings in some actors to play them, and he has every right to do so, all because Mark didn't read their contract.
Way to
a minute. How could this happen? This is my show.
It's easy. You have a 12-year-old for a lawyer.
This really sucks for JT. He can no longer do his own TV show, but maybe it was for the best. There was a lesson he had to learn.
Son, you gotta work real hard to become successful at anything, including being a TV star.
No Business Like Show Business is the third episode on this list from the second season, which just happens to be my favorite season. In the JT World episodes, I can't help but to love. To end this one, I'm going to point out one of my favorite parts, which is when they walk on the set of JT's World for the first time.
Wow, this is so weird. This set looks exactly like our living room.
Well, that's it. My top 10 favorite step-by-step episodes. Yours may differ, and that's totally awesome. Everyone's favorite should be what they connected to or enjoyed the most. There is no right or wrong answers. Step-by-Step at first glance may come across as a 1990s version of the Brady Bunch, and I get that, but to me the show's a lot more than that. It has its own unique feel to it the more you dive into the series. If you lived through the 1990s as a child or an adult, it's hard to imagine that you haven't at least heard of this family sitcom. It's part of 90s pop culture that I hope will live on in the hearts of the people who grew up on the show. I know for me, it always will.
I can do one somersault, I can do two.
Are you insane? You get dizzy in a swivel chair.